What is up, my fellow Division 2 agents? Welcome back to the channel. It's D Werewolf Gaming back with another Division 2 video. Alright guys, today's video will focus on the exposure or SHD exposure event that is currently taking place. And in the video today guys, I will show you different ways you can play this build and just show you what I am using in my gameplay. With that being said, I do want to give a big thank you to everyone that continues to support me on my channel, and especially those who always have something positive to say. Really appreciate each and every one of you. First guys, what we're gonna do is like I always show you a little bit of gameplay, then we're gonna go over what this SH exposure event is, and then I'm gonna show you a little bit more gameplay, and then shortly after guys we'll go over the build breakdown. So basically what this event is guys, what is occurring is basically guys, if those enemies see you, you will be building up exposures, and I'm just read what it does. Our enemies have created a way to isolate division signals and turn them against us. When seen by enemies, agents gain exposure, increasing the damage they take from all attacks, and the rate of this exposure gain increases as an agent moves. However, agents may turn the tables on their opponents by striking them with an empowered melee attacks to transfer their exposure. Additionally, a fully exposed agent may discharge their exposure to all nearby enemies by completing a cover-to-cover move, resulting in a pulse effect that also diminishes the damage they deal to the agent. All right, guys. So basically, this event lasts for 6 days. So basically, you got two ways to play this. You can go cover to cover, which will eventually transfer the exposure to the enemies, or you can basically do like you will see me doing in the gameplay, guys. I will be doing standing up, basically running up to those enemies, trying to melee hit them. But ultimately, there's like I said, there's two ways. As of right now, there's 6 days left to play this event. Very fun event. All right, so I'm going to show you a little bit more gameplay, guys. And in this particular setup, I am going to be using two different builds. Like I said, because you know Division 2 is all about using a variety of different builds, guys. You never have to play these builds the way you see me or any other content creator showcases a build or shows a build, because this game is all about changing up and using whatever works best for you in your game. I recently had a guy in one of my previous videos comment basically trying to tell me that my videos was clickbait just because of the fact that I showed a build. I show builds that I use in the gameplay. And guys, I've said this plenty of times before. I'm never telling you have to use this build, or my builds are the most powerful as anything. I'm just showing you whatever I am using and show you that it has worked. That is the only goal in this channel. At the end of the day, guys, when you buy these games, you purchase these games yourself, and you should be able to play with them however you want. You know, don't let nobody dictate and tell you this is the best or what. And you know, there are a lot of guys who look at numbers and tell you this and that, guys. But myself personally, I don't care about numbers, guys. I care about results. At the end of the day, if two people start a job and they both start at the same time and they end in the same way, no matter which route they took, the job got done. With that being said, guys, I do appreciate each and every one of you for your valued time and continued support as always. All right, so like I said, I'm going to show two different variations of this build. And shortly, I'm going to show you the next version of this build. That's what I'm going to be using right now. And then we'll go over the build breakdown, and guys, and then I will give you a little bit more gameplay. And as always, with these videos, guys, I always take out the parts when I'm moving from one location to the next, just so the videos don't be too long, especially when I'm playing in areas that you've seen plenty of times before. All right, and this video, guys, is more pertaining to those who are new to this game or don't fully understand what is taking place in the SHD exposure event. And like I said, guys, there are plenty of different builds, plenty of different ways to play this game. Always make whatever build you see or template you see your own. Use whatever works best for you. All right, so we'll be back shortly, and we'll go over the build breakdown.
Now.
Exposed to melee.
Take cover. You just lost a guy. Let him down.
All right, guys. So as you notice in the gameplay, I did switch out the weapons I was using. At first, I was using the St. Elsmo's engine, and now I'm using the Sweet Dreams assault shotgun. So let's go with this build real quick. The primary weapon I do enjoy using for this particular event is called the Sweet Dreams, and this shotgun is amazing, guys. But as you can see, it is fully maxed out with a weapon expertise of 12%. And guys, the main thing the talent that comes on this gun is what makes it great. It's called Sandman, and basically melee attacks instantly kill a non-elite enemies, and but it does have a cooldown of 15 seconds. The mods that come on this gun are 15% accuracy, 15% reload speed, and 25% optimal range. Now, one problem is, guys, that I do have when using this weapon is the timer. I forget that it's a 15-second cooldown. All right, your secondary weapon didn't really matter, guys. I did have the Lexington equipped with the talent killer on it, and basically killing an enemy with a critical hit grants plus 70% critical hit damage for 10 seconds. The mods I do have on it is 5% critical hit chance plus 15 rounds with another 15% critical hit damage mod and a 5% critical hit chance mod. When it comes to these weapons, guys, especially your secondary, I always use whichever weapon that works best for you. All right, for this build, guys, I did use the Visionary Arrow mask, or and it is part of the Legatus set, guys. And one piece gives you plus 30% swap speed. Two pieces gives you plus 70% optimal range, and we have all three pieces on. You get 15% increase in weapon damage. Core attributes, as you can see, is a weapon damage, with that second attribute being 50% optimal range with out of critical hit chance and critical hit damage for the last two attributes that I do have on this particular mask right now. Primarily, guys, I wanted a little bit more optimal range, so I thought this mask would work great with this build because, shotguns do suffer a little bit from range. All right, so I did have the Zeros F chest piece on, guys, and it is part of the Badger set, and when you have on all three pieces, you get 10% shotgun damage plus 5% increase in total armor with 15% armor back on the kill. The total, the core attribute I do have is 170,000 armor. With the middle attributes, we're going for critical hit chance and critical hit damage. All right, the talent is what really makes this chest piece stand out. It is basically called Perfectly Unbreakable, and when your armor is depleted, it repairs 100% of your armor. But this does have a cooldown of 55 seconds. Guys, if you don't have this chest piece and you do want to run this build, you can easily just put that talent Unbreakable on any chest piece that you prefer, and it will still work the same. The holster I did have was called Claws Out, and it is one piece of the Wyvern set, guys. It is the name version of that set, and basically what one piece gives you is increasing skill damage by 8%, and middle attributes are 500% increase in melee damage. I do have 6% critical hit chance to roll with 11% critical pistol damage. If you don't have this holster, guys, I will give you something else you can use. I did have the Badger knees on as well, and I had an armor core with the last two attributes being out of critical hit chance and critical hit damage. Did have the Badger gloves on as well with 170k armor with the last two attributes being critical hit chance and critical hit damage. All right, guys, so the Momentum backpack. This backpack, I know you've seen it plenty of times, guys, but it works so great in basically all your builds because you're getting all three armor cores, guys. You're getting a weapon skill tier and an armor tier as well. So, and the attribute that I do have on it is 6% critical hit chance. The talent is what we're really going for. It's called Kill Confirm. Guys, enemies that you kill, they drop a trophy based on the number of cores you have, guys. For each trophy you pick up, you're getting 5% weapon damage plus 10% bonus armor with 5% skill efficiency. Basically, guys, when you pick up those stats, you get up to 30 trophies you need to pick up. You will have 30% increase in weapon damage, skill efficiency with 3% armor regen. With this event, guys, you cannot have any mods on, so I do want to point that out. And let's take a look at the weapon stats really quick. All right, so with the Sweet Dreams assault shotgun, I do have 52% critical hit chance. The cap on that is 60 with 93% critical hit damage with a headshot damage of 45%. All right, whenever I was using the Lexington, critical hit chance was 60% with 108% critical hit damage with 75% headshot damage. All right, guys, so let's take a look at the armor. This build was pretty balanced in my opinion. I had right there 1,559,000, 75 armor with 233,861 armor back on the kill. I did have a little bit of health on the kill as well with this build, 108,900. All right, so if you did not want to use Sweet Dreams, I was using the St. Elsmo's engine a little bit as well. And of course, you can't have two exotics equipped, so you will need to equip a different shotgun. And so basically, this is the setup that I was using in the beginning. I'm going to show you this really quick. All right, guys. So with this setup, I was mainly using the Shocker Punch holster. And basically, this is it is an exotic holster that basically you get a benefit whenever you have all three items equipped. You need the shield, St. Elsmo's engine, and this holster equipped as well. As you see, the core attribute is armor core. explosive resistance, and hazard protection. All right, the talent is called Defibrillator, and basically, while Shock or Punch is equipped, the stun received by the agent from the shock status effect will be reduced by 50%. Using the shield will give 100% to melee damage, and using St. Elmo's engine will with the holster will give 100% extra melee damage and will make the next melee attack to apply shock to the target that you're hitting. Using all three items will offer all of the above mentioned bonuses, and the shot from the melee attack will have a 5-meter radius starting from the first target. This does have a 15-second cooldown. This is fun, guys, but like I said, it's too many timers and there's a lot to remember. So I myself prefer the first setup that I did show you, but this can be very fun as well because it will apply shot to those enemies. So this is like I said, use whichever version you prefer. This is just one way I was using this build, guys. And like I said, this event lasts for 6 days as of right now, me recording this video. So I recommend you get out there, give it a try, see if it will be something that you will enjoy. And also, I do want to point out, whenever I had this setup, guys, on this setup, I did have right there 1.8 million armor with this particular setup. And one thing I do want to point out, guys, the backpack, I did change it, was to the setup. And it is part of one piece of the Xena set, and what that gives you is increasing armor by 5%. I did have an armor core with the middle attributes being out of critical hit chance or critical hit damage. And the talent that comes on this backpack is called Perfectly Optimist. And what it does is enemies you hit take 15% more damage from all sources for 5 seconds. But it requires using a shotgun, guys, or a marksman rifle. So that's one thing you got to keep in mind. All right, and with these builds, guys, there are always other different options when it comes to use whatever backpack you use. For example, guys, you can use a backpack that gives you armor back on a kill, or you can use one that gives you more damage, such as the Unstoppable Force. Basically, killing enemies gives you 5% increase in weapon damage, stacking up to 5 times to get up to 25% increase in weapon damage whenever you're using that, guys. And that can be refreshed with each kill. You can also use the talent Vigilance, which increases weapon damage by 25%. But, guys, whenever you take damage, it will have a cooldown on that, so keep that in mind. And like I said, or you can even go with a talent that gives you basically called Adrenaline Rush. Whenever you're within a certain distance within an enemy, guys, you will gain bonus armor, and that will stack. And also, this will have a cooldown as well. So keep that in mind, guys. There are many other options, but I do feel personally, guys, given the fact that the Memento backpack has so many benefits, that it works best in this particular build. Ultimately, always use whichever works best for you, though. And shotgun I was using, guys, was the boomstick whenever I did switch from the Sweet Dreams. But, if you don't have that, guys, you could have used whichever weapon you prefer. Like I said, whenever you're using the setup backpack, it benefits from using a shotgun or a marksman rifle. So you do want to have a shotgun equipped if you are going to be using that particular setup. But like I said, it don't really matter which shotgun you use, guys. Just use whichever one works best for you. I felt the Sweet Dreams work very good in this build, guys. It fit the theme. It's all about that melee hit, and this event really does pushes you using melee combat. All right, so let's take a look at the class specialization. I did go with the firewall, guys, and basically getting 30% health back on the kill. So that's just amazing, guys. Your armor kits repair 200% armor and 200 health over 10 seconds. So it will take a little bit less time, more time to heal, but it does repair your armor and health as well. So that's one good benefit of using this particular class. All right, you will have access to the Striker Shield, and this shield, guys, is amazing. But what it does, basically, the Striker Shield is a modified version of the Crusader Shield, allowing basically you to use the flamethrower. And in addition, the Striker Shield boosts the damage of the user and all allies behind them based on the number of enemies in front of them. And keep in mind, guys, the shield skill tier increases with both blue and yellow core attributes. So the more blue or yellow cores you have equipped, it will boost your shield tier levels as well. All right, so allies deal 10% additional damage to enemies that are within 10 meters of you. So that's just great whenever you're playing in a team. And guys, whenever your armor breaks, it applies a burn to enemies within 5 meters. So that's another amazing trait that comes with the firewall specialization. And guys, you will have 30% bonus armor during cover to cover moves. So guys, if you're utilizing that cover to cover mechanic during this event, you will have 30% more bonus armor as well. All right, and one thing I do want to point out is this tactical short grip. Guys, this is great as well on your weapons. You will see when I'm going to show you really quick. This is only available using the firewall specialization, but what it does is it allows you to get 15% critical hit damage on your mod, instead of that normal 10% that you do have the 10% that you do have a critical hit damage on your weapons. So that's just great, guys. And then, like I said, it's called Tactical Short Grip, and it's only available in the Firewall Specialization, and it will give you 15% critical hit damage instead of the normal 10% critical hit damage. One last thing is, don't forget to equip the correct weapon elements, guys, before you go out there and take on these enemies. That way you're getting your bonus and 15% increase in weapon damage. All right, guys, if you like the build, let's give it a thumbs up. Thank you for your valued time and continued support as always, especially those who always have something positive to say. Really appreciate each and every one of you. All right, so stick around if you want to see a little bit more gameplay. Basically going to be tackling and finishing up the rest of this mission. Lincoln Memorial is one of my favorite areas to play, test out builds. Really, to me, it's pretty short, very balanced, and I really enjoy this mission. All right, guys, so I'm going to let you finish watching the rest of the gameplay. D-Werewolf out.
Agent charge compromised. System obstructed. System back online.
Over there!
No sign of the commanders. Find them and neutralize them.